Are you working really hard in your real estate business but feel stuck? Or maybe you're sitting there wondering whether you're even cut out for this market. Please don't skip this episode because the agents who are still closing right now are not just doing things differently, they're thinking differently. And that's the shift I want to walk you through today in part two of this 5-part series on how six-figure agents are thriving right now in the shifting market. Welcome to the Profitable Real Estate Agent. I'm your host, Vanessa Barnes. If you are ready to make six figures consistently, create predictable closings, and build a business you've always dreamed of, this show is for you. I'm pulling back the curtain on the exact framework that took me from brand new agent to consistent six figures to eventually building a seven-figure real estate business. Every week, I cut through the noise and focus on what actually drives results. The skills, the systems, the mindset that help real estate agents just like you create consistent income without having to work 24/7 or burning out. Are you ready? Let's get to work. All right, so last week we talked about the numbers, and I asked you to start tracking those conversations and ratios to see what's actually happening in your business, like get to the facts. I'm curious, did you notice anything? Are you having to have more conversations to get to that agreement? Or are you finding that more of your contracts are falling apart? And I want you to keep paying attention to these numbers every single day and continue to track them because these are the numbers that help you see where you need to shift your approach in real time. Like we shouldn't be waiting a month to evaluate this. That's why I said every single day. But today we're going to talk about something just as important. And honestly, the thing that separates agents who keep growing from the agents who quietly pull back on their business. This is your mindset. This is about how you think and how you show up when the market starts to feel heavy or when you're not seeing results right away. And this really matters more than you might realize because your numbers tell you what needs to change, but your mindset determines whether or not you actually follow through. And this is where a lot of agents get stuck. And a lot of agents right now are carrying thoughts like, no one's buying right now. Everyone is waiting for rates to drop. It's impossible to get anything under contract. I'm just so far behind, I'll never catch up. And I should be further along than I am right now. And once these thoughts start stacking on top of each other, your energy shifts. You hesitate, you second guess, and without even realizing it, you start showing up like someone who's struggling instead of someone who's actually building a six-figure business. And then what happens is your actions follow, or should I say your lack of action. So you need to stop and evaluate, are these quiet thoughts, is this what is holding me back? Ask yourself that right now. I went through the list of questions and sit there for a moment and really think about it. What are you saying to yourself the minute you get out of bed? Are you lying awake in the middle of the night with a record player on repeat of all the things that you should be doing and not doing, or making a list of everything you think you're doing wrong, or everything that went wrong that day? Because this is the mindset gap that I want you to see. And look, I lived this myself for so much of my career. It wasn't that I was sitting around doing nothing. I was working, I was showing up, I was grinding 24/7, it felt like. But in my head, I was constantly questioning myself, replaying the conversations from the day, wondering if I was doing the right things right now. And then that little doubt, that self-doubt creeps in. And that's the part that's hard to catch. From the outside, everyone saw me as, oh, look at her. Everything is fine. She's busy. She's closing things. She's doing things. But internally, you feel a heaviness. I felt the heaviness. Then you start to hesitate. You overthink everything. Something that should be so simple feels so complicated. You delay follow-up. You start pulling back in small ways that you might not even notice at first. And then that momentum you felt you had at one point starts to slip away. It wasn't until, for me, I started paying attention to what was actually going on in my head when things started to change. Not because the market improved. And look, I've been through a lot of cycles. If you've listened to me long enough, you know how long I've been in the industry. And remember, I started when I was 12. That's our narrative, okay? Even though I know you can't get your license till 18, but whatever, that's fine. We're just going to go with that, okay? And it's not because everything for me got easier, or maybe for you, you're thinking that. It was because I made a conscious choice to keep showing up. I stayed consistent. I learned to stay consistent, even when results weren't there. I didn't stop when things felt hard. And I stopped letting the thoughts in my head decide my behavior. That's the difference. And that shift is exactly what six-figure agents are doing right now. They're not letting the market decide who they are and who they're capable of. They stay anchored in action, even when the results lag. And that's a big reason why they're still closing homes. Not only closing homes consistently, but they're actually thriving and growing. Hey, a real quick pause before we go deeper. If you're listening right now and thinking, I need a clear plan to finally make a consistent six-figure income, then you need to join my signature program, Roadmap to Six Figures. It's the exact framework that I use to build a steady, predictable business, and it's designed for real estate agents just like you who are done guessing and ready for a proven structure that actually works. Inside the program, you're going to find support and guidance from a community that's building right alongside you, all while learning the skills and systems and habits that create those consistent closings. Plus, you're going to get access to my buyer and seller frameworks, scripts and templates, and everything else you need to stay on track. If you're ready for a business you can count on month after month, click the link in the show notes right now and join Roadmap to Six Figures today. All right, back to the episode. And here's what this actually looks like in real life. When a deal falls apart, a buyer decides not to buy right now, or a seller says, I'm going to take my listing off the market, which we know is happening in great numbers right now. The six-figure agents, they don't jump straight into, I'm failing, or this must not be working. They don't turn the moment into a meaning, and they don't make it mean something about them or their business. They don't make it to mean something is wrong with them. Instead, they ask a simple question. What is my next move that I can control? And then they go and do that. They keep lead generation consistent even when they feel discouraged. They follow up when it feels uncomfortable. They stay visible even when they don't feel 100% confident. Not because it feels good, and trust me, it doesn't, but because they understand that this is part of the business. Momentum doesn't come from waiting to feel better. Momentum comes from staying consistent when things feel messy. That's the mindset difference of a six-figure agent. Now, I want to give you something simple that you can actually use this week. You know I love my tips and strategies and my action steps. So here's what I want you to do. For the next 7 days, when you notice yourself hesitating, overthinking, pulling back, when those thoughts start to surface, I want you to pause right there in that moment and ask yourself these 3 questions in this order. What just happened? Facts only, okay? Did a deal pause? A client went quiet? A showing didn't lead anywhere? The seller pulled the home off the market? What happened? Then ask yourself, what story am I starting to tell myself about this? What thoughts are surfacing? Are thoughts surfacing like, I'm behind, this market is impossible, I must be doing something wrong? Look, don't judge yourself with the thought. I just want you to start becoming aware of it. Number 3, what's the next action step I can take that moves my business forward today? Is it just a follow-up call? One piece of lead generation? A conversation? Respond to that DM message that you've been wanting to in your social media platform. Then go and do it. Just one thing is all I'm asking you to do to start pushing yourself forward. And this is how six-figure agents continue to keep their momentum. They don't let their thoughts change how they show up. And I know this sounds simple as I'm explaining it. You're probably thinking, Vanessa, okay, now I'm aware of all these thoughts that are surfacing in my head. And here's the thing. I understand you. I hear you. I see you. I feel you. I was there for so long. And I promise you, if you work these steps every single day when the thoughts start to surface, you will start to see a difference because it worked for me. And I'm telling you, I had an extreme negative record player in my mind for so long. And now I do my 24-hour pity party. Go and listen to that episode. If that's how you're feeling, go listen to that and then come back here and take action. But again, I want you to know this is not to feel shame. This is not to make yourself feel bad. You just need to become aware because when you have awareness, then things start to shift. All right. So next week is going to be so fun. We're going to talk more about lead generation, but from a six-figure agent perspective and what they're actually doing in this market right now. And I will tell you, they are not chasing shiny objects. We're not doing things to make us feel busy. We're focusing on the things that consistently lead to closings. Thank you for joining me today. Jump over to my IG page, send me a DM. What resonated with you? What are you going to achieve this week? I want to cheer you on. I'll see you there. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me today and coming along on this journey. In the show notes, you're going to find everything you need to get started. The link to my signature program, the 60 lead gen guide so you can fill your pipeline, and the link to book a 15-minute strategy call with me. Now, if you found this episode valuable, please share it with a fellow agent and leave me a 5-star rating and review, because it helps other agents just like you find the show. Until next time.